With a doodle, it's your favorite loc, Mr. T, back like I never left, raised by OGs, not IG. Anyways, it was a story I never talked about, but I'm gonna tell you the story about the little young rider that I met from Atlanta. Actually, he's not really from Atlanta. He's from a small country town in Georgia, but his moms and them moved up to Atlanta when he was like 6 years old, 7 years old, whatever. But anyways, so when I first ever met this little nigga, I had met this broad on, damn, where I met that broad at? Somewhere. But anyways, this is back in like 2012. It was like August of 2012, summertime, you know what I'm saying? So how I met the little nigga, I was sitting in her yard because, you know, her mom and them got a patio, not a patio, but they got the, the chairs with the tent and all that. They got that in there. So I'm sitting right there, but I'm gonna tell you what I had on. So I had a Compton sweater on that I had been having for a minute, my Compton beanie, some black Timberlands and some jeans. So he was riding on the, out here in the South, they ride a lot of dirt bikes and shit. So cuz was riding on the dirt bike, but he kept looking my way the whole time. So I asked her, I said, you know him? She was like, yeah, that's my friend, little brother. He's supposed to be some little gangbanger or whatever. I said, yeah. I said, where you from? He was like, I don't know. I said, what are you, a blood or Chris, a GD or something? Because, a lot of GDs is influenced in Georgia way before a lot of Crip gangs out here too. A lot of GDs be trapping. But anyway, she was like, no, I think you're a Crip. So when he circled the block again on the bike and shit, I went flagged him down. So he turned back around. So I'm like, hey, I said, what's up, little homie? I said, you been circling the block a few times. What's up, fool? He was like, nah, I see you, old head. No, did he call me dad? He called me dad, because Atlanta, they like calling niggas dad, unc, auntie, mom, dude. That's how they talk out here. So I was like, oh, yeah. He said, I seen you got the Compton sweater on. So I said, shit, if he wearing that, he got to either be from Cali or he just got it on. I said, no, I'm from Compton, fool. He like, yeah. He was like, me too. I looked at him, I said, real? He was like, no, I'm not really from Compton, but I'm from a Compton set. So I said, where you from? That nigga said, this is crazy, right? But shout out to my little nigga, his name Clumsy. But rest his soul, because he had just died 2 years ago. He got gunned down and shit out there in Gwinnett somewhere. But anyway, rest in peace to him, but I'm telling a little story. I said, so where you from? He was like, I'm from West Side, neighborhood, Kelly Block, Compton Crip. I looked at that nigga, I said, what? He said, I'm from West Side, neighborhood, Kelly Block, Compton Crip, 3600. Then he started breaking down the little cliques. So I say, wait a minute, how that happened? He was like, well, in apartments they used to hang in, because at that time, you got to think about in 2012, bro was like 16. So I guess the little apartments they used to hang out in Gwinnett County. It was some rolling 60s over there, 2 dudes from Kelly Park, and some niggas from I think they was from, I forgot what block hood. It wasn't 11 Trey block, but it was a block hood. So that was the little niggas over there, that's what they put it all together. So I guess they probably said, fuck it, y'all can claim Compton Crip too, you know what I'm saying? But it was a combination. So it was like rolling 60, whatever that block hood was, and Kelly, but Compton Crip. But West Side though, and that shit was shocking, because when you be meeting niggas that do be having California gangs, bro, that shit be so weird. Like, oh, I'm from South Side Nutty Block, nigga. What? That shit be weird as fuck though. But yeah, that's what Cub was claiming. And when I say Cub was pushing that shit, him and like 10 other niggas, it was a few of them. I ain't gonna lie, I get them, nigga. They was about a good, maybe 40. They had some bitches too. I'll tell another story about the little bitch. She, oh my God, she was a terrorist out here in Atlanta. But he was like the main nigga, because I guess he was like the main one. Clumsy was like the main one that fucked it with the niggas who actually put him on that shit. So everybody else fell up under him and whatnot. But it was crazy that them niggas used to put that shit. Then they used to write on the wall, and these niggas ain't known for like, striking. You know what I'm saying? So they shit used to look like a bunch of kids, because they was writing that shit on the wall and shit. But they also had a lot of cliques too. So a lot of their cliques had like Bloods, Crips, and shit. It was like confusing. You know what I'm saying? So the other little homie, his name was BK something. Oh, BK Wolf. His name BK Wolf. But the girl asked him one day, was like, if your name is BK, why you hang with the Bloods from 9 Trey? Because, you know, the 9 Trey is a New York gang, whatever, but it's a lot of them out here in Georgia, too. Like, why you hang with all of the Bloods, but your name is BK? But none of them don't call him that. You know what I'm saying? They just call him Wolf. But his name was BK Wolf, but this nigga ain't never killed not one Blood. But he said he got the name from another dude from, I think, Rolling 30s. Either Rolling 30s or 20s. That's where he got the BK name from. And he just called himself Wolf. That's how he became BK Wolf. I said, nah, fool. You got to be really about that to put that on there. You can't just say that, nigga, you ain't never did it. But anyway, it's different, bro. You know, it's different. Because, you know, they ain't really got to deal with what we deal with in the city. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you don't see a lot of Crip versus Bloods or Bloods versus Crips, or you might get Crip on Crip. Most of the beats that be out here in Atlanta, bro, it be like cliques. You know, it be Crips and Bloods, GDs, everything in these cliques. So it ain't really no really gang bang to a certain degree, but that shit don't really fly until you go to the pen. Like if you go to the pen out here, where they call down the road, that's when you see the more lot of Damus, the Goodfellas, the, you know, the Crips is really small out here. So most of the Crips that's more dominant out here, they either from Savannah or Macon. You know what I'm saying? So maybe Atlanta now, because it's a lot of rolling 60s out here. But yeah, it ain't, you know, like that. So they don't really bang like we bang. That's a good thing. But then in a way, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, a lot of these niggas claim our shit, but then they try to bang it a whole different way. That'd be confusing with me. So that's why I really don't too much interact with them, even though I'm not with the banging shit. I'm a members only, Mona. But, you know, I'm not with the gangbanging shit, but sometimes they shit be weird, bro. And then a lot of these niggas, they be part-time, cripping and blood, and then 1 minute they full-fledged, then they part-time, then they temporarily. They be half-assing too much, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. That shit be like, what? Because they can walk away from it when they want to, because it's not so serious. Like, certain niggas probably serious, but a lot of them is not serious, because it's really like a number game and a fashion. So they can always just walk away. That's why I love that little nigga Clumsy, because he wasn't with none of that shit. Like, cuz, even though that shit was weird as fuck how that hood got put together, but cuz was full-fledged structure, but they end up dropping all that shit and just became Rolling 60, because I told you that's like the biggest Crips out here. When it come to Atlanta area metro, it's Rolling 60s. You got some 20s, you got some 30s, and a few other little hood, but Rolling 60s is the main. And the biggest Rolling 60s out here, what he claimed, is the South Coast. Like, they call South Coast and West Coast. The West Coast is more original out here, but the South Coast, is so many of them niggas, even though I heard through the grapevine, they say they a dub. Dub mean as they fake, or they not this and that, but they done got so fucking big. You can't call them niggas fake, you know what I'm saying? Because they the biggest. Like, I ain't gonna lie, because the South Coast Rolling 60s is fucking big, cuz, on the real. But rest in peace to the little homie, well, I'm gonna say C.I.P, to the little homie Clumsy, from West Side neighborhood, Kelly Block, Compton Crip. Even though, AKA now, he ended up being just straight Rolling 60, South Coast. But rest in peace to my nigga. Hey, favorite low.